Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here for this conversation connected to the show K-Now Korean Video Art Today that we opened yesterday. I'm here with my dear colleague Jiun Moon. We curated this show together, and Jiun is an independent curator and writer based in Seoul. She's also professor at the Ganjong University and former deputy director of the Art Sonje Center. I'm here, of course, also with some of the artists that are featured in our exhibition. Jin Kaisen, Suna Moon, Sungsil Ryu, and the members of the collective 업체eobchae, Jeon-suk Ho, Wing Wang, and Nahi Kim. So yesterday we opened the show. I'm not going to do a long introduction because I don't want to steal time to the artists. I'm here to hear from them about their works. It's a unique opportunity. So we are trying to keep the conversation in 1 hour, and we want to give enough time to each of the artists to talk about their practice and the works that are exhibited in the show. And of course, also a little bit of time for you, for the public, to ask questions at the end. And you are very welcome to ask questions also in Italian. If you prefer, we can then translate them to the artists. Yesterday we explained a little bit the concept of the show. We, during our research, Jiun and I identified some common direction, common trajectories in the video art scene of South Korea. And we decided to structure the show around 3 conceptual vectors: historical memories, technological, digital imaginaries, and the screen as a performative stage. So maybe I would like to start this conversation with Jin Kaisen, that we can say you are connected to the first, let's call it macro topic that I mentioned, the historical memory. Jane's work, Jane's work, for the ones that have seen the show yesterday, Jane's work is the double projection at the very end of the room, in the dark room. And we can say that your research look to the past, but in a very meaningful way also for the present. It's kind of remembering some of the traumas of history, but to face again unresolved legacies that stay embedded in the present, also in the landscape, in the nature that is so present in your work. So maybe you can explain the 2 works that we can see, Wreckage and Offering, how you created them, and also maybe about the cycle that they are part of.
Yes, thank you so much for curating this beautiful show. I'm showing 2 video works in the exhibition in the dark room, in a sense at the end of the exhibition as you walk in. And they're both 12 minutes long. This is a film still from Records, and the other work is called Offering. And they're works in of themselves, but sometimes I also show them together with a larger body of work that were all filmed in and around Jeju Island in different landscapes and natural environments. And for the case of Offering and Records, they were both filmed under the surface of the sea. So they are filmed underwater over a period of a few weeks. It was a really, quite incredible experience to film underwater. It's filmed with a cinema camera, and a special case was built so we could take it underwater. And in the two works, you see a group of women who are free divers, people who, I mean, they live in Jeju, and some of them have been also involved with sort of tracing the changes to the climate, you know, the sea climate, and so they are doing, in a sense, a type of choreography or performative offering in the videos, you know, underwater. There's different materials that are brought under the surface of the sea, also instruments related to shamanic rituals. So as a whole, my practice, as you were mentioning, I think one of the things that I have been very concerned about are questions of memory. When it comes to Jeju Island, which is a space that I've also been, you know, working in for many years and filming, with records especially, it's also related to the Jeju April 3rd massacre, the memory of this event that took place shortly after the Second World War and leading into the Korean War. So in records, the underwater footage is combined with an archive film, a black and white archive film, a propaganda film that was filmed by the US Army, and which I believe is one of the first you know, films from Jeju after the Second World War. And you see soldiers gathering all these weapons and cannons and guns and material that was left by the Japanese when Japan, which had colonized Korea for many years, when the Japanese left, one of the first things that the US did was to gather all these weapons and throw them into the sea. And so they've been left in the ocean to corrode, in a sense. I mean, for me, it was always, I was working on another project around the memory of the Jeju massacre in, I mean, almost 15 years ago. And I remember seeing this archive film, and it always stuck with me, the kind of very unnecessary violence also, and like sort of staging of power, you know, that happened when the Americans arrived to gather all these weapons and just, you know, put them into the sea. So in records, this is combined with a shamanic ritual lament sung by Kosunan, who was a shaman from Jeju Island that she passed away a number of years ago. But for many years, I was documenting her practice. She came from a small village where my grandparents were living in Jeju. And so she really dedicated her practice to the memory of the Jeju April 3rd victims, also in part because her father was killed during the massacre. So in records, you hear this duet of a mother and son who are, I mean, the son was thrown into the sea. So there is this sense that the sea is both this kind of space of violent and traumatic memories, but in a sense, as the works unfold, it also becomes a space of perhaps a type of, I don't know, consolation at least. I think I should stop. Yeah, but yeah.
And I mean, I was very impressed. I think when you entered this room that we created, you're impressed by this presence of the water and how it also somehow gives the rhythm of the video itself. So you kind of, and also the sound, of course. You talked about the sound of wreckage, but actually also the sound of offering. We said it yesterday. It's kind of a white sound that stays and goes inside you, and it's really moving. Even if you maybe can't, as our audience from Europe, can't recognize all the references that you are doing to the history of Jeju Island.
Yeah. No, I think it is. yeah, the sound offering, as you say, I mean, records has this whole sort of, I mean, it's in a way constructed around the ritual lament, you know, so it has a certain narrative, but offering, it's actually one hit of this gong, you know, like that is stretched for 12 minutes. So you hear, and I think, as you say, like it works on the body. It's within the sort of, I guess, different shamanic instruments. It's the one that is set to open the heart of the gods. You know, so when you hit the gong, it opens the gates in a way. And so, yeah, they're both quite, I would say, evocative, immersive works that I think can be experienced, you know, also, yeah, in a sort of very immediate way.
Sorry. So this image of underwater was very important for us to conclude the exhibition because this cycle, you know, what water represents, the cycle of life. So no matter how catastrophic contemporary Korean society went through, there's always return of life. So for me, your work wasn't just about historical memories, but insertion of hope and this belief. So that was very important for our for us to ending the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling now how hard it will be doing a talk with all of you and having only 1 hour. I would like to ask you so many more questions, but I have to go on. Well, you can then ask the questions, dear public. Suna Moon, she is here as the founder of the Afro-Asia collective together with Onejoon. Their work is made in Korea. The ones that have already seen the show, it's the work with the LP covers at the sides of the screen. And well, Jane, we were saying, looking to the past and facing again legacies that are meaningful in the present, and maybe also your work is like dealing with, well, you know, political connections that left a lot in the present society. And so I would like to ask you, first of all, what is Afro-Asia Collective, how you found it and why, and how you work? And then, of course, if you can delve into the work that is shown in the show, Made in Korea, and tell us a bit more about that.
Thank you for inviting us for this beautiful show. And actually, I think historically it's very important, so it's honor. And thank you for coming here as well in Sunday. And for the Afro-Asia Collective, I'm always saying that I'm independent curator at the first time, and I started collaboration with Onejoon Che. He's the artist for long, and both of our approach was quite different because at the first time I was interested in post-colonial issue, and Wonjun was more interested in Afro-Asian context because he was chasing the kind of hidden history back in the days. So he was following the North Korea, which is prohibited in Korea, South Korea, and also the Cold War issues relate to American soldiers. There are lots of issues with environment and like the staying, blah, blah, blah. So when I was thinking to, after coming, because I was in Europe for a while, and then after coming back to Korea, I was thinking to establish the space to talk about the post-colonial issue. And Wonjoon was asking me to come to Dongducheon, now where we are based in now. And at the first time, for me, till my generation, Dongducheon, which is a U.S. military, still U.S. military camp town, was a kind of symbol of Cold War issue. So I told him, I don't want to make a space in those kind of international area. It's different area than I thought. And Wonjoon said to me, no, there is a kind of African migrants and Asian migrant as well. So now the city itself is changing because there was an agreement between South Korea and America to move all of the US military camp to the south part because near the border, it's very expensive to maintain the camp. And then what happened was after the coming down number of the US military troops, African migrants start to come into the town. So now there are kind of big three communities, locals and American soldiers and Africans. And there are lots of misunderstanding between communities. So we thought, yeah, maybe we can't talk more than we are expecting, and then we can, with these local people, we can broaden our idea more and more. So we opened the two spaces. One is for the contemporary art, and one is for the community art. So at the first time, Wonjoon was working as an artist, and me working as a curator in our spaces. But somehow, in the middle, our role was mixtured in a way, and also one of the workshop we are doing is looking for someone who worked as an artist in their home country, but working as migrant workers in Korea. So we found Oshinachi as a kind of first figure and guest member of Afro-Asian Collective. So our team structure is me and Wonjoon is a main member of Afro-Asian Collective, and we are inviting one by one African migrants or younger generation people or Asian migrants as well. So we made two films with Oshinachi, and the interesting thing was, especially in the town now, with the kind of independent movement from Nigeria, Nigerian Igbos are the majority of African people there. So we found Oshinachi in the Igbo festival. They're keeping their first generation who moved to Korea, and they're keeping their own identity with their own festival. So there are three kings in the town. The soul system is following Nigerian Igbo style. So and when we approached to him, he said, because at the first time we were telling him, we want to make a kind of mixture genre between high life music and trot music. Both are traditional. So he said, I'm also making one. And then, and we negotiated a lot together with the lyrics and composing. And also we hired a kind of traditional trot Korean composer as well. So we work all together for this song. And the lyrics are mostly by Oshinachi's, and he's more, he really wanted to show his admiration for Korean society, and he really wants to succeed in Korea. And so this song is more about welcoming and admiring. But the second video, No Pain, No, we have another video in this series, No Pain, No Gain, is more showing his working and his future, bright future. So if there is chance, we want to show it later. Yeah, and also we put the LPs of trot and high life, and in the middle, it's a form of our own mixture genre. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think when we were discussing the selection of the artists, it was kind of, to me, it was important to have this work because we said it yesterday, we show works that are rooted in South Korea, but that address topics that are shared with everyone. And maybe it's kind of unexpected for a European audience to find a work of a Korean collective talking about labor migration from Africa. And I think it's so nice to have this kind of heavy topics, but showed in a joyful way, because Osinachi, by the way, is singing in Korean as a gesture of gratitude, right?
Yes.
And you saw it maybe, then you have those subtitles that are very karaoke style.
Yes.
So I think it's not always so easy to do a work that is so layered with topics that are important and also, I mean, as I said, heavy, but in a lightful way. So, and that's, we were talking about those conceptual vectors that you always have to be a little bit flexible, because if not, it's going to be probably labeling wrong, but it's kind of an intersection between historical memories and performative stage, because it's kind of like a video clip, we could say, a musical video clip. And that leads me to Sungsil Ryu, because if we talk about screen as a performative stage, I'm sure that you or the artist maybe covers the best this macro topic, let's call it like this. You created a character, Cherry Young, and in this performative stage, if you can call it like this, you impersonate this character. And you did a lot of works, not just that one, that we see in this show. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about Cherry Young, how you arrived to create this character. And because it's really, you will see the video is kind of addressing so many feelings and topics that are important now in our society, that is also full with new habits connected to new media, to screens. And so you do it in a very humorous way, but then it's also, you can feel kind of a very elegant and smart critique to the after effects, to the side effects of this new media habits. And also maybe you can tell us a little bit about the wallpaper that you did extra for this show. And of course also the web page that you can scan a QR code and go to the web page that Sungsil created for this show as well, right?
Yes.
Or you adapted it for this show? And you
Only
can,
for this show.
Okay, and you can get the cards as first-class member, first-class citizenship that she's joking with in her work.
You have to pay for this first-class citizen, because first-class citizen is not free. So,
But it's totally worth it. I mean, it's kind of an art edition that's connected to the show. So.
Oh, by the way, I'm so nervous to speak in English, so I prepare my own script. So I hope you don't mind it. Okay. So the Cherijang series consists of 6 videos and performances made between 2018 and 2021. The series follows the life of fictional character named Cherijang, she represents a kind of exaggerated figure from the Korean marketing industry. In the first story, Cheri-jang claims that North Korea is about to launch a nuclear attack. And using this threat, she creates fear and asks people to send money to a designated bank account to use in heaven. In return, she promises them something called first-class citizenship. And you can see this work in this exhibition. And later in the series, she presents herself as an environmental activist. She introduced a project called the Planet Brightening Solution, which she claims will solve the climate crisis. But eventually it becomes clear that this is mostly marketing language rather than a real solution. So after 2 years of intense activity, Cheri-jang eventually dies from overwork. This is so Korean style. And I also want to mention that her funeral was presented as a performance in front of the audience in 2021 in Korea. And in this exhibition at Massy Lugano, I present one of my earlier work from the Cheri-jang series, which is about her first-class citizenship. For this exhibition, the work is presented together with a large wallpaper image in the space. And as she mentioned, the visitors can also scan a QR code in the exhibition to access the website. So you can get your own first-class citizenship if you insert your name and photo.
So we are doing marketing here.
Global shipping available. Okay. Actually, one thing that I like to mention is that the Cheri-jang series was originally created in the Korean context. So when I started this project, I wasn't really thinking about international audiences. But in the past few years, I have had more opportunities to show this work abroad. And during that process, I noticed something interesting. In Korea, the work is more often read in relation to social and political context in Korea. But outside Korea, I thought the work is sometimes interpreted more through its lo-fi internet aesthetics or visual styles. Because of that, the Cheri-jang series can sometimes feel like a slightly tricky work for me to present internationally. So I'm curious how audiences here in Lugano are reading this work.
Thank you so much, Sungsil. Well, I invite you to, if you haven't seen the show, to go check out these works. It's also, it's also very fun. When we presented the show to the press conference, to the journalists, one of them that I know quite well said, "Yeah, I wanted to watch your work, the Sungsil works." And I said, I will watch it just for a few minutes because it's not my cup of tea. And then he watched it all because it was so engaging. And it's true that it talks about society, the political and society of Korea, but it addresses also some topics like trying to reach status quo and and the competition that there is, and this kind of trying to monetarizing also things that are hard or shouldn't be monetarized. It also addresses questions and issues that are everywhere, even here in Switzerland. So maybe I end with the collective, 업체eobchae, and again, let's mention these conceptual vectors. You are, without doubt, a lot connected with the technological and digital imaginaries, with what we can call speculative narrative. And your work in the show, Rolla Rolls, is a speculative narrative that imagines a future without fossil fuel. And the transformation of human being in self-efficient machines, can we say it like this? Mm-hmm. So I would like to ask you maybe something about the collective itself, how you work together, how you create the works. You have all different expertise and they come together. And yeah, and more about the work, how you started and who was more active in which part.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, let's start like introducing like us and like how we are working. Yeah, we are 업체, like, so a lot of people asking us like, what is that meaning? So it's actually meaning company in Korean. So when we first started the collective, maybe like 8-9 years ago, we were still like students in college, but like we wanna make money out of like our activity like through this collective. But apparently it's kind of like still being a failure. But like we glad like still like doing this because we are having like this kind of like wonderful opportunities to meet different people and showing our work to like a lot of different audiences. So I think we can introduce ourselves individually, and then we can talk about our collaboration style, and then we also need to talk about Lola. There are a lot of topics we need to cover. Yeah, we are three, so please mind us. So I'm Nahi. When we first started the collective, I was working with them based in Seoul, but now I'm living in New York. I am mostly like covering technology part, like in the collective. So like whenever there's new technology I want to play with, or like whenever we need to make some like images, but like we want to try different way of like creating images, like not just shooting it or not just like doing a little bit of photoshopping. Yeah, and then.
Huang, and I make video and sound stuff for 업체e's work, and I working as electronic musician as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Chan Sago, and I'm doing kind of tech stuff in the relations of the the artworks, like writing down the scripts and then applying for the fundraising or something like that. And I do some kind of also introduce ourselves in Korean and English to Korean people and something like that. Yeah.
So when we are collaborating, so like I said, like I'm now living in New York, they're still living in Seoul. So yeah, so we like figure out the way how we are working, like after maybe like 5-6 years. So we are doing like kind of like weekly or like bi-monthly meetings, and then we just like actually yapping in the meeting for an hour. Just like talk about like the things like we discovered in the world, and then like we kind of like narrowing down like some like more common subjects we like to talk about, And if there's like any like exhibition opportunity comes up, like we kind of want to bring that like subject we want to deal with like to that like exhibitions theme or like work. Yeah, so I think the Lola was also like one of those works. So we actually started like to think about Lola 2 years before the actual production starts. I think like maybe we were more, I think like for this one, we have like actually like pretty concrete goal like to like kind of like conceive this work. Because like I think we want to apply some like grant like hosted by some motor company. So we want to like, okay, so we want to deal with some vehicles. But like we also like often talk about like how scarce our fossil fuel is. Like it's like yeah, part of it is obvious. Like we are using a lot of like internet technology. Like now, like including AI, like we're like literally consuming like more and more energy every day. But also we are from South Korea, which like we don't like have any kind of like fossil fuel resources, and so like one day, I think we talk about like how useless human is in terms of like contributing, creating energies in like in the world, in nature. So we just truly like found some like natural resources and then just consume that until it's not there anymore. So I think we want like give humans opportunity to become like its own like energy resource. So like we're think about like okay yeah how like human can be like that. Yeah, we should like mutate ourselves. So we think about this bacteria called B. amoris, which means bacteria of love. So like once like we consuming once humans like taking these bacteria like for maybe like some long time, we think about like the humans like mutating like their bodies slowly to become like this self-efficient creature or like hybrid machine, generate energies and like kind of like can help itself to move itself like without like borrowing those resources outside of like its own like body. But like this video, Lola Rose, is about like one person, like this one character called R, like how like it is like becoming like one of Lola's, which is the like mutated form of like human, like after like taking the bacteria. So like the video you will see from the exhibition room is about the process. So their body is like slowly changing as they taking this bacteria. Also, like when we are creating this video, we kind of added the concept of they're actually like amputating their body so that they just like directly connect themselves to the vehicle. So that's the reason why the Lola or R has that kind of form in the video. And yeah, I want to briefly talk about that, the kind of like sculpture, that installation piece. So that one is actually outcome of also one of our yapping sessions. Like we want to know like how Lola looks like. So we kind of played with like with the Midjourney, which is AI image generating software. And then like we created like a lot of images, like truly a lot of images. And then we just like narrow it down, like this is like closest image we can think about Lola. And then but there are a lot of like other shapes of Lola, like which is not like fit to like the ideal like form of Lola we like ended up with. So like we kind of want to make some like kind of tree of like this generation of Lola. It's actually almost like following the process of our like AI image generation. Like we like going through this epoch and then we like going through that like multiple generations and then we ended up with like final version, whatever image we actually had in mind. So like we just like give some context. Okay, like let's think this is kind of like Lola's history from 1900. Yeah, 1900. So that circle shaped sculpture behind in the downstairs. It's about like how it was started from 1900, and so that like from the in the beginning it has a little bit more like outdated like those gear looks, and then it will become more like fancy and futuristic as it like goes through that timeline. So I think that's like most about like we can talk about the Lola, but if there's anything you want to add, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I guess the time is running out, so I think it depends on the Francesca.
You have 1 minute. No,
Oh,
I'm joking. No, if you want to add something,
yeah,
you can, for sure.
yeah, and like Nahi had mentioned briefly in her presentation, yeah, and, the image looks really blurry, right? The contour of the real photorealistic figures are deformed into the blurred images that we can barely recognize the facial expression, something like that, because that's the reason why I wanted it to convey the nuance of the rapid evolution, like one generation, the deep ecologists called Rolla wanted to make themselves as the species that could enable themselves to have rapid evolution in their generation. So we wanted to portray this kind of constant changing contour of the figures of the personnels that appear in our videos. And as for the tree of Rolla, we can see the visualistic evolution of each generation, and we wanted to show some chronological process that from the Gothic horror-like images of the early 1900s to the futuristic concept car-ish stylish images of the 2040s, like that era. So it's like they wanted to show some kind of tree map and the family tree of this cult deep ecologist to that so that the audience could understand what it means to be like belong to Rolla in this era. Yeah, that's the point I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Well, again, when we were thinking about who to invite and this topic of the technological imaginaries, we, of course, another artist that is connected to this concept is Ayeon Kim with her work Delivery Dancer Sphere. But we kind of felt when we were analyzing your works that you were kind of the even next step of involving technologies in a work, because of course your video are all digital. That's also a point that made me think a lot about video as a art medium. I mean, can we talk still about video art if the video is completely digital? So also Dina, that wrote the text with us in the catalog, we were all talking about, can we talk about video or should we talk about moving images? What's the right way to, describe the art form nowadays? And I think, and with that I conclude, so we can have time also for the questions from the public. But I think that what I really liked of your work is also how you work as a collective. You said it briefly when you presented yourself, that you have this particular expertise that come together, and you can see it so well in the work because it's, I mean, of course, digital, and you need the know-how to do a video like that, but it's also so interesting from the point of view of the sound, and you can feel there is a musician behind and doing all those music and also the voice of the character of R, and the text it's mind-blowing. I mean, I really enjoy to see this work because it's also, again, as I said to Suna Moon, but in a very different way, those are topics that are so important to us. I mean, it's a fear that everybody has now, today. The human that becomes a machine. It's not a fear of today, it's a very old fear of human beings. But maybe in the last years with AI, it just reactivated some fear that was, that are very long in our history. So, but in a fun way. Because if you can see all the work of 업체eobchae, it's really fun. It's really also a lot of humor.
I just quickly add that in addition to 3 categories that Francesca just mentioned, the idea of body was something that we discussed a lot, shaping the exhibitions, because 업체eobchae is dealing with this human body into transforming into machine, but there is this paradoxical desire or fear for the physical body and our struggle with digitalized body. And I think these themes move across different artistic strategies in the work presented in the exhibitions. And the artists Hee-chan Kim and Ah-young Kim, who are not with us today, also deals with this issue. And many of the work are produced during the COVID time. So I think it alerts our sense of body in the work that presented in the exhibition. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's really hard to do a talk with so many interesting works and so many interesting artists that last only 1 hour. I hope you don't feel it was too short, but if you want to know more, you can really take this book, you can read the text, and there are also 8 interviews with the artists where you can delve in their practice a little bit more. You are very welcome to see the show if you hadn't a chance yesterday. So all those words will just have so much more sense looking at the works of the artists. But thank you so much to everybody for being here, for traveling all the way here in Lugano and doing these opening days with us. It was really a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you.